What's up everybody, SuperDurks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2016 Cadillac ATS-V. Huge thanks to Jonathon for allowing me to review his very sweet ATS-V for you guys today. So about the ATS-V, well this is the M3 fighter from Cadillac here that I think looks really sweet. I really do love all of these Cadillac designs here recently. I love, you know, these headlights, the way they start up here at the midpoint of the hood almost and drape down there, and you know, this one, especially being the V, has a very nice aggressive hood there with the carbon fiber package as well, so you have all these nice carbon fiber accents there on the hood. Also that aggressive front lip that looks awesome, and there's a big bold grille. Out back there you have a very aggressive spoiler as well, and it just, you know, you've got the quad exhaust and everything else. It's just, from every angle, this thing just looks really cool, and you know, much like the CTS-V, just in a little bit of a smaller package. Right, for the interior of the ATS-V, well, it's really great in typical Cadillac fashion. Anyway, the first things first, sitting down in these Recaro V seats, they are very nice seats. So they have the Alcantara inserts here with leather on the outside, and man, they are just ideal. I mean, really perfect torso bolsters here that hug you in enough, but you know, aren't over the top. Still very comfortable, but very sporty, and you know, I love also the thigh support here. The bolsters that come up very high. Again, not overly high, but just really, it's a perfect seat, honestly, and very comfortable as well. And yeah, they're just really nice seats. Next is the steering wheel in the ATS-V, which is basically just like the one in the CTS-V that I reviewed, and it's just a really nice thick wheel. Got a nice 9-3 grip, and then you have a very beefy 10-2 notches here as well. Very nice metal paddles too, which is a very nice touch. And I love the other little buttons here that you have that are illuminated, and you know, just a few of them, nothing overwhelming, and just a really nicely designed wheel too. I love the look of it, and overall just a great wheel. Next is the gauges in the ATS-V, which aren't quite as sweet as the CTS-V. The CTS-V, you get the digital gauges. This one has a little digital portion there at the bottom that still gives you some of that cool stuff, like you have your engine boost gauge there as well for the turbos. But otherwise, though, it's all analog there, and you know, it's pretty good. You know, I like the font on the V gauges in particular. The ATS, the standard gauges and the normal ATS aren't quite as exciting to look at, but these ones are a little bit more exciting here. Still not the most amazing gauges or the most exciting to look at, but still cool gauges nonetheless. And yeah, it'd be really nice though if they offered the digital gauges as an option here in the ATS-V, because those digital gauges are really sweet. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, though, again, very similar to all the other, you know, current Cadillac designs, and I really love it. I know a lot of people don't like the capacitive touch buttons and the whole Q system. I do, though. I think it's actually very responsive. It works well enough, and I just love the look of it because it looks so futuristic, yet still classy and modern, and just, it's a really cool blend of both of those things. And anyway, though, the Q system up here, typical, you know, it shares a lot of its bones with the Chevy MyLink system here, all the same basic menus and whatnot, just, you know, with a nicer appearance and whatnot. And it looks really good though. It works great. You also do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here as, you know, an available thing too that's standard on them for 2016 here. And so really great to have that, because that's a very nice feature. Coming down to the rest of the controls here, though, for volume and for climate and things like that, all capacitive touch. So, you know, whenever they're not on, it doesn't, you know, you can't even see them. But whenever you turn the car on, they all light up, and it's actually pretty responsive. You know, you sometimes have to be a little bit deliberate with your, you know, inputs in order to get it to work. But most of the time, it works without issue. And like I said, I think it looks really cool and works pretty well. As far as storage space in the ATS-V, it's pretty good. So first things first, you have a bottle holder here in the door, and then you also have a pretty large map pocket as well. So really nice storage there in the door. Coming over to the center here, you have a tiny little cubby here that also has a power outlet. Not too usable, but nice to have nonetheless. And then coming back here, you have two nicely sized cup holders. And then you have the center armrest, which is a little bit padded, not overly soft, but nice enough to rest your elbow on still. And you open that up, and you have a pretty deep cubby. Again, not enormous, but good enough to, you know, fit several things in there. As you can see, you also have two USB jacks, an auxiliary jack. backseat space in the ATS-V is pretty decent. It's a little bit on the tight side. Now I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself, I still have 2 or 3 inches of legroom there to spare, and there is a cutout in the roof so that you do have a little bit more headroom there. But I would say if you're 6 feet or taller, you might have trouble sitting in the back of this car unless the driver and passenger up front are really short. But otherwise though, I think it's still, like I said, it's a pretty usable back seat. And of course, if you want this engine in a larger car, you can always get the ATS-V Sport that I have reviewed in the past, which is also a phenomenal car with the same power plant and of course a roomier back seat. Trunk space in the ATS-V is pretty good, actually. It's a pretty nice sized trunk. Not the largest out there, but I think very competitive, for the class that's competing in here with the 3 Series and, A4 and, those kind of cars. And so, yeah, a pretty good sized trunk, and you have your little, you don't have a spare tire in here, but you do have, the kind of fix a flat kind of thing going on, and a little bit of additional storage underneath there as well. All right, so start up and go for a drive. ATS-V has, of course, the very nice Cadillac key here. It's metal and just feels really nice weight to it. Anyway, of course, you just leave that in your pocket, hit the engine start button, it starts right up. All right, so setting off in the 2016 Cadillac ATS-V. So first thing that you notice about these, it's a nice low driving position, feels very sporty, of course, like I mentioned with the seats here. But other things that you notice, visibility is very good. The hood drops down nicely, so you don't really have to worry about looking over a hood, kind of like in the ATS-V you do have to. So this, it's a little bit easier to drive as far as visibility goes in the front. View out of the sides is great as well. You do have a pretty hefty B-pillar here, but of course being a four-door, it's easy to see around, and view out of the back is great as well. Other things you notice, we're on this bumpy park road here, and it actually, though, it does hook up bumps very nicely, and it's, you can feel the bumps, of course. It's a little bit of a sportier ride. Now, this does have the magnetic ride control, which helps with the smoothness in addition to the handling. So, but it actually feels a lot like a BMW in the way that it rides. Very similar kind of ride qualities here to stuff like the M3. And overall, though, I mean, it's, still very luxury sedan-like. It's not, harsh in any way, but, definitely on the sporty side. All right, so let's turn down on this back road here and see how it does. Here we go. Okay, got the traction control kicking in there, but this thing's got some power to it. Wow, so the ATS-V here has a 3-liter V6 twin turbocharged that does 464 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. And so 0 to 60 time claimed by Cadillac is 3.8 seconds. So I mean, we're in supercar range there with this. I mean, it's seriously quick. And I mean, this car isn't too heavy compared to other luxury sedans at right around 3,800 pounds. So it doesn't take a whole lot to get this thing up and going. Because even though 464 doesn't sound as crazy as the mighty ATS-V with its 650, trust me, it's plenty to get this thing moving very quickly. Another acceleration. Man, it really pulls. It's awesome. And I love how it gets a little bit squirmy there. It's not enough to really scare you, but it's enough to make it exciting and dramatic and just really make for a thrilling drive. Just cruising on a main road though now. It's still, like I said, it's a very smooth, nice thing to drive. I do like this seating position though. It's really ideal. And yeah, it's pretty quiet as well, and it feels very refined. I'm really impressed with these Cadillacs. They've really improved them a lot, I think, and the quality and whatnot of everything in the interior here is just great. And another thing I want to mention though is whenever I was doing those acceleration pulls, the transmission is actually pretty quick and snappy, and this is the same 8-speed automatic that GM has been putting in some other stuff, and for some reason the Cadillac tuning is the best, I think, out of the GM products as far as this 8-speed goes. It's the quickest and most responsive here, whereas stuff like the C7 Stingray, I mean, you pull a paddle and you have to wait like a full second for it to actually shift gears. This though, it gives them to you right whenever you want them, and so it's much better here in the Cadillacs. Going around a few corners here, nothing too crazy, but one thing that really stands out about the ATS-V is the steering weight, which now we're in sport mode here for the driving, and I think that might maybe firm it up a little bit, but it's just a nice heavy steering. It's not overly heavy, but it makes it feel very aggressive and sporty, and I like the resistance that it has. One great thing that whenever you are going around corners in this thing is the mid-range punch that you have, and just about any gear just gives you a nice little shove no matter what. And it sounds pretty good too. That's one thing, you know. I mean, it could be louder, of course. This does have some type of active exhaust going on, so it's quieter in the touring modes than it is in the sport and the track mode. But it sounds really good, especially for people that love BMWs and love 6-cylinders and whatnot. I mean, you're right at home here with this 6-cylinder. It's just, it almost has a little bit of a BMW sound to it. Not quite, but you know, similar in style. Yeah, this thing though, the handling is phenomenal. I mean, it's so flat. We've got Michelin Pilot Super Sports all around that are, I believe, 255 in the front and like 285 in the back. So I mean, it keeps you planted really well. But I mean, there is no body roll. There isn't anything to complain about here with this suspension. It just, it goes wherever you want it to go, and does so. It gives you such confidence as well. And whenever you do need to slow it down, you got some Brembo brakes here that really have nice engagement right at the top of the pedal there, and so they don't make you wait or make you wonder at all. It's a very firm brake pedal, and so very confidence-inspiring brakes. One thing that I will say is you do feel a little bit of weight. Now it's not, you know, it doesn't feel as heavy as the CTS or anything like that, because this Alpha chassis is spectacular with how sharp turn-in is and how light it likes to dive into corners, but there is a little bit of weight there that you can feel. I mean, it feels substantial going down the road. It actually feels a little bit like a larger car. It's just, honestly though, I think I prefer this because it's a little more sure-footed than the M3 and a little more confidence-inspiring. The M3, you kind of have your doubts about it sometimes because it is a little more tail-happy and stuff, whereas this, it has a little bit of squirreliness, but not too much. The thrust from those turbos though, I mean, it really just plants you back in your seat hard. It's great. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to drive this around for a little while longer here, and I'll come back and give you some of my final impressions. Alright, so I've been driving the ATS-V here for a little while longer, and it's just a really great thing to drive. I love this power plant. It's very similar in character as how it was in the CTS-V Sport that I already reviewed, but it has a little bit of a more accessible feeling to it, whereas, you know, stuff like the M3, it's got a very old school kind of turbo feeling where you don't really have any power until, you know, 3,000 or 3,500. This, it comes on a little bit earlier and it's a little more progressive, so that it feels a little more naturally aspirated, but you still have that great big, you know, turbo just push that, you know, just gets more and more intense as the RPMs rise. And so it's a very well-rounded engine though, and I really love the way that they set this up and the way they tuned it. It just is a really nice thing to drive as far as, you know, just doing blast down straightaways and stuff. And then the greatest thing is you have this awesome suspension to keep up with all that power. So overall, everything is just very well-rounded about this car. It's not overpowered, really. It's right on the edge of, you know, it's just enough power to barely break the tires loose a little bit there, but it's not so much that you have to constantly be scared about it, you know, spinning out or anything like that. It's just very, like I said, they've kind of gotten the sweet spot here, and I think, you know, if they do some kind of V8 ATS-V Plus down the line or something, that would probably be more of a muscle car. This feels like a thoroughly refined sports car that's well-rounded, and, you know, every part is equal to the others, and everything keeps up with each other, and it's very well matched, and everything just as a comprehensive package is just very, very nice to drive. And you know, of course, it's not as crazy as the CTS-V or anything like that, but it's, you know, way less horsepower, almost 200 less horsepower to be exact. So you can't expect that type of experience, but, you know, for those that want a very good handling V and something a little bit smaller than the CTS, and of course much more affordable, this is plenty of fun still, and a really great car, and excellent for carving up a back road as well. So anyway, huge thanks once again to Jonathan for allowing me to review his very sweet ATS-V here. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts on the ATS-V, and thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.